Hello everybody, welcome to Acoustic Scribblings. My name is Jordan. Today I'm going to be giving you guys the review and demo on this classical guitar I refinished. So if you guys want to see what this looked like originally, jump over to Scribblings Acoustic on Instagram. I'm sorry I don't have a link. Every time I try to leave a link in the description of one of my videos, it never works. So I've stopped trying at this point and just telling you guys where to find it. So jump over to Scribblings Acoustics, scroll down to I think my 10th post total. Something right in there, and it'll show you a picture of a classical guitar on a little upright stand, and it looks real bad shape. It was scratched up. The finish was really dark on the front, and on the back it was like a clear coated dark finish. That really didn't look super good, and I don't know if you guys can see or not in the camera there. I'll twist it a couple of different directions and hopefully you guys will be able to see it, but there was a repair right down here at the base of the neck, and so that was a bit of a bummer that it had been broke. The action is not good on it at all, so it's on the 12th fret it's about a 1/4 inch, but up here on the top 3 frets it's 3, 4, 5 is starting to rise just a little more than what you would want, but on the top 3 frets it works pretty good, and nylon strings are pretty flexible as far as being able to play up the neck, and it's not really hard. However, this guitar, like I say, the neck is warped, and probably partially because of it being broken at one point. The tuning machines are fairly old and they're not original. I know because when I pulled them off to do the refinish job, there was multiple screw holes that did not line up with the pegs that are on it right now, which, I mean, they're kind of pretty. I mean, they're just typical classical guitar, tuning machines. The headstock actually had a little crown on it because this is a Yamaha G60A. So the headstock had a little Yamaha crown on it, and I did not like that, so I took my jigsaw and I cut it off. And I'm very happy I did because it looks so much better now. On the back of the neck, I used tung oil, and once again, I'll try to get a little bit of a closer up shot on this. The neck actually looks really pretty right in there, just the grain of the wood. Okay, let me just go through the process really quick. So like I said, the back and sides had clear coat on it, which is a pain to get off. It was not very fun. So I took my orbital sander, put 40 grit sandpaper on it, and just ground it off. And that was a mistake because it left all sorts of tooling marks in the back of the guitar, which I did not get off before I applied the first layer of stain. So I had to go back and, I had to take my lighter, so I think I went 80 and then down to 200 at some point, or 120, I can't remember what it was. But I had to sand all that off again, and then I had to reapply the stain, and then I just took 220 grit sandpaper and I kind of just light sanded over the whole thing and took a little bit of water and wiped it off. And the RIT dye, actually, the way it applies, I believe it's water-based because it will wipe off if you use a wet rag or something, which actually I ended up using that to my advantage because in the end, I'll show you the back now. I'm really proud of how the back turned out. I was going for kind of a vintage vibe anyways, so instead of actually being solid black, I was able to draw out the wood grain. Sorry, it's a little bit dirty. I'll need to clean that up. Sorry about that, but I just had it out in the wood shop. I was doing a little more polishing, so that's why I'm a little bit dirty as well. So I was really happy with how the back turned out. The sides actually look pretty good. And then the front. So what I did was I took a piece of cardboard yay big, and I cut out the stars and the stripes and whatnot, and I just took 220 grit sandpaper after I'd stained the entire thing black and sanded it off. So I'm really happy about that. I added a couple of, and I really shouldn't have done this, but I added a couple of screws in the bridge, here, because originally I was going to try to put acoustic strings on it, but then I realized the neck was just warped too far and it wouldn't hold up. So I was originally going to put acoustic strings on it, so I thought I might need the extra bracing so that the bridge wouldn't pull off. And so I didn't end up doing that. So I think I'm just going to paint these black and call it good. I mean, they don't look too horrible there, but they don't look too good either. Also, I put 2 screws in the heel here just to make sure that that brake didn't open up again a second time. So they're about, I think, 2.5 inches long, so they go well down into the base of the neck here, which was a good thing. I had to redo the stars at one point. I had to redo a good majority of this. And then I just used a semi-gloss clear coat, Rust-Oleum was what I used, and sprayed over the entire body. And I tried not to spray the neck because, like I say, I have the tongue oil on there, so it gives the neck a really nice playable feel instead of having it a glossy kind of slippery feel. It's like a soft and smooth feel, so it's much better, in my opinion, than if I would have taken the gloss and sprayed over it. So that's essentially the process. I'll run some pictures at the end of the video. You guys probably don't really care too much about those, but if you do want to watch those, I'll put kind of a slideshow at the end of the video so you can see the process and what it looked like through the different stages. But you're probably wondering like how it sounds, because I looked this guitar up at one point, and for one of these that's in decent condition on Reverb, I think the guy was selling it for in between $150 and $250. So, I mean, they're not a high-end instrument at all, but that's not what my channel is about. My channel is about taking something that's low-end and either finding a good deal on something that's low-end that works great, or about taking something that is low-end and making it better. So I believe the finish looks a lot better. I made mistakes. I made a mistake right here where the finish, I accidentally scratched it off, and to go back and redo that would be a pretty big task. I made a mistake right here. I applied the gloss coat too heavy and it ran, and so I had to spend some time buffing it out with a homemade buffing wheel. Same thing here, the finish ran. Same thing here, the finish ran. Like, it was a trial and error process. So not only does it look vintage, it looks beat up, and I'm not super proud of that. I wanted this to look like a brand new guitar, but this was my experimental guitar. So I tuned it up, and I don't know, it doesn't hold tune super well, especially G here does not hold tune well. So I'm going to give you guys some playing samples, and if it's not everything you hoped and dreamed, just keep in mind that it was a free guitar. So hope you guys enjoy this part of the video. So that's some of the sounds from this guitar. You probably heard a lot of fret buzz on the last little piece that I played, and mostly that was my fault. The frets on this guitar are not super great. I decided not to put the extra 30 bucks into buying a kit for a fret job. So the fret buzz is mostly my fault, maybe partially due to the high action and how loose the strings are. I'm used to playing acoustic strings, so it's a lot different, obviously, and the neck is way wider than I'm used to. So I'm not a classical guitar player, so if you're like, oh, this guy is just the worst, he doesn't know how to play classical music at all. No, I don't know how to play classical music at all, so sorry about that, if that's what you were looking for. But I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Now I'm going to do a small slideshow so you can see my process. And if you guys enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe down below. And I hope to have you guys watch more of my videos in the future. Thanks so much.